Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about the new offerings from Charlotte Tilbury. I, as many of you know, am a huge Charlotte Tilbury fan. I love their products. It's just one of those brands that is me. You know, I love the color stories. I love their packaging. I've rarely met a Charlotte Tilbury product I don't like. So when I saw this new eyeshadow palette, of course, I leapt all over it. And she's not just giving us a new eyeshadow palette, she's also giving us back the much loved Hypnotizing Pop Shot single shadows. I own 3 already, but I went back for a 4th because I love these. These are some of my absolute favorite and most used single eyeshadows. So I thought I'd update you with some swatches of those while I give this new eyeshadow palette a thorough going over and let you guys know all of my thoughts, swatches, comparisons to last year's palette. If that sounds interesting to you, then keep watching. Okay, so Charlotte Tilbury has given us a new eyeshadow palette for holiday 2024. And this is the Beautyverse Love palette. Last year we got the Beautyverse, this year we have the Beautyverse Love, which, if you don't mind me saying, is a little Valentine's-y, isn't it? With the heart and the name and the colour story. Definitely gives me more sort of Valentine's vibes. But you know, those red tones are also very festive. So, you know, I'm not going to complain. Any eyeshadow palette from Charlotte Tilbury and I'm a happy girl. So this palette is limited edition. However, last year's Beautyverse, the original palette, was also marketed as limited edition and is still available a year later. Take that with a little Salt Bay pinch of salt, because I don't think you need to run out and buy this immediately now or it'll be gone forever. I think this will be around for quite a long time. I know Charlotte Tilbury's limited editions typically don't sell out and are gone forever in like a day or so. So you've got time, don't panic. Wait for a sale possibly. I know the Sephora sale is coming up soon, is it? American people, let me know. We don't get that sale. Rude. But this palette will set you back £58 or $69. It is a 9-pan as per her previous version, and it features 3 futuristic finishes, duochrome pearls, and is encased in a star-studded starburst palette with a mirror. So let's take a close-up look at it and some swatches. So here is how it looks in the box. I absolutely love the presentation. It's stunning. And here is the palette. Wow. It definitely has the Charlotte Tilbury packaging wow factor. It's absolutely stunning. Very cutesy. Oh, hello. We have the little shade name card in there. Ooh. And there she is inside. Oh, it's pretty, isn't it? Let's do some swatching. I can't wait. Oh. Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palette. I've been waiting. Okay, so on the top row we have 3 future mattes, exactly the same as last year's palettes. 3 future mattes on the top row in that palette as well, and these feel so soft and silky. We then have 2 more future mattes on the next row, and then we have a topper. So this shade is the Party Topper, and we have 1 more future matte in this palette than we did in last year's palette, so 1 extra matte in this one. And then the bottom row is 3 Crystal Glow shades, again exactly the same bottom row formula wise as last year, but this year we have 1 more matte and 1 less Crystal Glow than in last year's palette. And there it is, all together in all its glory. So speaking of last year's palette, I wanted to show you them side by side. I think I prefer this year's packaging. I just find it a little more what I look for, but undoubtedly both have divine packaging. It's just kind of personal preference which you find the most beautiful. And as I said, in this year's palette, which is this one here, we have an extra matte and 1 less Crystal Glow. Again, that's going to be personal preference as to whether you're happy about the extra matte and losing a Crystal Glow. I probably would have preferred extra crystal glow and one less matte. I think the 3 mattes on the top row even would have been enough, certainly with that deeper, richer red colour. I don't think we needed 5 mattes in here. I would have preferred an extra crystal personally. So here we have a side-by-side of the 2 palettes, the mattes in the 2 palettes. On this hand we have last year's palette, and on this hand we have this year's Beautyverse Love. So you can see we have an extra matte in this palette, and overall this definitely, the new palette is definitely richer, deeper, richer shades versus last year's palette. And here we have a side-by-side of the shimmer shadows in last year's palette and this year's palette. So again, we have one more in the original Beautyverse and one less in this year's Beautyverse Love. Again, the shimmers do run a little richer and deeper this year, which is perfect for a wider variety of skin tones. So this year's palette definitely different enough. I think if you purchased last year's palette and you're wondering, does this offer me something new? I definitely think it does. And the formulas last year were excellent. So I'm very excited to try out this year's palette. So also back for holiday, we have the Hypnotizing Pop shots. So I think these were originally part of last year's holiday collection, I think. And the popular shades sold out very quickly. They have been restocked sort of here and there over the last 12 months, but the green shade and also the blue, the sort of standout, more different shades, sold out very, very quickly and were basically gone and never to be seen or found again. So these have been brought back, the entire restock of all of the shades, and they do say back for the holiday season. So I do expect them to disappear again, you know, fairly quickly. They did sell out very, very quickly last time. If you have your eye on a specific shade, I wouldn't hang around with these. They're very popular. I'm not going to demonstrate these on the eyes today because we have seen them before. I will link my review of these when they first launched because nothing has changed. They're just a restock of the shades. So I love these. They are some of my all-time favorite single shadows. 2 of them live in my top drawer and I use them frequently. They will set you back £25 or $34 and they are available in 9 shades. I did think that I would swatch them for you though, and I also did pick up one more. So the shades I owned originally are Pillow Talk Diamonds. I think that was part of like the second release of these. And then I have Diamond Eyes and that extremely popular Emerald Eyes. So can you guess which one I went back for? It's Smoky Quartz. If you said Smoky Quartz, you have won. You're a winner. Ding ding, there's no prize, but other than pride. I have had major regrets over not picking this shade up because this was one of the ones that sold out quite quickly and I haven't been able to get it since. So when I saw these were coming back, I knew I wanted to grab this shade. I think it's going to be a perfect one and done shadow for a lot of the days when I'm feeling lazy. So let's have a little look. Again, stunning packaging. Anything from this collection is going to make an excellent Christmas gift. This in your stocking, perfect. And again, that stunning jeweled packaging. I just love it. So Charlotte Tilbury. And there she is. Oof, I can't wait to try this. So when I tell you I love and use these a lot, I wasn't lying. Do you see the crater in there? This is Diamond Eyes, and I would say this is probably my most used of all of the ones that I own. Then we have Pillow Talk Diamond Eyes, again, a well-used and loved shadow. And finally that Emerald Eyes, which I would say if you want to grab this one, I would be quick. It's one of the best green shimmer shadows I own. Gorgeous. So we have Emerald Eyes. Wowie. You almost forget how beautiful these are. Oof. Diamond Eyes. Pillow Talk Diamonds. Definitely a little less shimmery and reflective compared to the others. And Smoky Quartz. Oof. That is stunning. Just look at these. Whoa! So we have, of course, Emerald Eyes, Diamond Eyes, Pillow Talk Diamonds, and Smoky Quartz. Oof, stunning. Okay, so there you have all of the information and swatches of these new eyeshadow products from Charlotte Tilbury, or new and returning, I should say. Let's dive into the palette and try this out on the eyes. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this matte shade, and I'm using my Sonia Holiday brush from last year. And I'm just going to work that into the crease up towards the brow as my first transition shade. Just a reminder, if you've just tuned in at this point, I'm not naked, just to be clear. That's a good idea, isn't it, for a channel? Naked makeup with Judy, perhaps? Any Judys out there? Wish to start that up? You're welcome. I love these Future Matte formulas. I think they're so creamy and silky, and they almost feel like a cream texture when you swatch them, but they're so easy to work with. They go a long way. A little goes a long way with them. You only need a small amount and you can just blend and blend until the cows come walking home. Next, I'm going to use that same brush and I'm going to go into this sort of neutral looking number just there. I'm just going to kind of keep this a bit lower down and use that in the outer V area. I feel I'm going to have to use the sort of deeper red matte shade. It's really not my kind of shade, but I feel like you can't really review this palette and not use this shade, because that's kind of what it's all about, isn't it? This is a very sort of red leaning palette. It is, you know, I guess a pinky color story, but it's very rich end. So I think it's going to be really great for those with a deeper skin tone or those who just want something a bit richer. It's very autumny, I feel, as well, this palette. Quite versatile, I hope. I really love last year's palette. I used it a lot, really enjoy it. I do think last year's colour story perhaps is a bit more my cup of tea than this year's, which I think is good because, you know, I doubt anyone's run out. If you bought this eyeshadow palette last year, it's probably still very much going strong. So nice to have something different, you know, and something that appeals to someone else. Not just the exact same colour story as last year. I think that would have been quite disappointing. Okay, so I'm going to use my Sonia G T5 brush and that rather alarming red shade. And let's see if it's quite as terrifying as I'm envisioning it. It's not. Okay, I always do this. I always think things are scarier than they are. Probably because I watch a lot of scary films. Okay, so I'm always on worst case scenario. By the way, I will be doing a new makeup and movies at some point. But while I have you here, the other day I went to see Never Let Go with Halle Berry. Oh my days. I went on my own, of course, because it was at night. So my husband was on child watch and I was terrified. Okay, it was one of those films where we live, you know, in the middle of nowhere, and so I drive down lots of country lanes in the pitch black on the way back from the cinema, and I had to call my husband on my car phone so I didn't lose my mind. I literally ran from our drive into the house. That's how scared I was. It was terrifying, but not as terrifying as that red shade was. And in fact, I think it's really pretty and it blended like a dream. We love to see it. I think what I'm going to do with this little number here, this almost black shade, very smoky shade, I'm going to use it to sort of tightline. Actually, no, that doesn't come next. What are you doing? I haven't done my lid shade. Get a grip. So sorry you had to see that. I'm going to use my Rapha 21 and a shimmer. No, I'm not even going to do that. What is wrong with me? Hello? Get with the program, sister. I mean, it wouldn't be a Charlotte video if it wasn't an utter shambles, would it? Oof. Now these shimmers, although the mattes, I mean, I'm just talking about these and maybe slightly this one, are not really my cup of tea. These shimmers, oh, they are. So all is forgiven. I think I'm going to start off with this shadow. It's strange because these are all have the same name formula wise, but I feel like there's definitely two different formulas here. There's one that sort of reminds me of the Hypnotizing Pop shots, very shimmery, very sort of gel feeling to them, very sparkly, glittery. with a little bit of fallout. And then there's also this formula, like these two, that is very smooth, less shimmery and sparkly, and less fallouty. Do you see what I'm saying? This is more of a metallic, a classic metallic. And then some of the shades are a lot more sparkly, glittery. Do you see what I mean? It feels like there are in fact two different formulas of these crystal shades. I'm just building this up, and I'm going to use this as a sort of halfway house, if you will, between the shimmer and the matte portion of the ball, the eyeball. So now I'm going to use my Refa 21 and this. Yeah, see how I've swelled in there, and this is more of a push. Otherwise it's all coming much more crumbly and looser, more of a real sort of party. And yet these are called the same name, the same formula, which is intriguing. And I think, you know, you can see on the lid how much more sort of sparkly and glittery this shade is. It's looser, it's giving some fallout, whereas the middle shade didn't. This shade is definitely one that would be great to apply with a finger or a damp brush, I think, to avoid a little bit of the fallout. Typically I just do my eyes first and then I don't care about fallout. But just to warn you, take heed, okay? Take heed. Or that is, do you know, not that I didn't think I would like this palette, I just thought it's not my kind of go-to colour story, and I wouldn't like it as much as I liked last year's, but I think this shadow all on its own has just fully swung that back around, okay? This is now delightful. That shade has definitely got some fallout, which you would probably suspect because it is, you know, quite a glittery, sparkly little number. Definitely, if I were you, I would apply that with a finger or a damp brush, or just do your eyes before your face makeup. What I'm going to do now is pretend you didn't see this earlier. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to tightline with that shade in there. I know you're surprised. You didn't see that coming, did you? You did not know that was going to happen. And I'm going to use my T1 and I'm just going to stamp this on that lower lash line, just so I can say that I did, just so I can say I used that shade. Cheat the system. Perfect little number. I like having a shade in here like that, because it's also going to be good if you want to do a bit of a wing, a shadow wing. It's perfect for that. I'm just going to do a sort of really smudged one today. And now what I think I'll do is I'll pop a bit of this, the topper. Is that the topper shade? Yes, the party topper shade with my Builder S, and I'm going to put that right in the corner. Really up in there, you know? Pretty. And then finally I'm going to use my T3 and this one. It's daytime. I've got swimming lessons later. And I'm going to use that on that lower lash line. Oh no, I went into the other one. Just so many mistakes today. We love to see it. Okay, so here is the final look before I go in with mascara. I love this a lot more than I thought I would, okay? It's actually really pretty, and the mattes are much more wearable for me than I thought they were going to be. You can definitely use them with a really light hand because they're such an excellent formula, but they do build really beautifully as well, as you would see from the swatches, how a heavy application of them could be really rich, but actually used lightly today, I'm really liking it. What a surprise. So of course I'm going to go in with my Holy Grail mascara, Be right back. Okay, and here is the finished look with a coat of Charlotte Tilbury mascara. What do you guys think? This is so much prettier than I expected it to be. I thought this was going to be a little muddy for me or on my skin tone, and I actually love it. It's so much prettier than I was expecting. I know I love the formulas in here because they're the same formulas, formulas. Another word I actually prefer, formulas. Much nicer than formulas, boring. I know I love the formulas in here because they're the same that were in last year's palette, and I know they were excellent. Her best ever matte formula, in my opinion, in these palettes. Beautifully creamy, buttery, soft, very easy to blend forever until you're finished. You could blend this over your whole face if you were so taken by the need to do so. Super pretty and wearable. I love the crystal topper, really reflective and sparkly, perfect for Christmas, New Year's parties. And I like the colour story on my eyes a lot better than I thought I would based on looking at it in the palette. So this is an exciting day for me. Okay, this shade here just made it for me. Beautiful. I'm really happy with it. Okay, so this was very pleasantly surprising for me. I love the packaging. I knew, as I said, that I would love the formulas because I loved them last year. It's a rare day when I see a colour story from Charlotte Tilbury and I don't like it because I feel like the brand and we are like this. We're one. I know a lot of people get tired of Charlotte Tilbury because she does a lot of peachy colours. Everything is peachy. Her lip colours, her blush colours, typically her eyeshadows often are peachy tones, but I live for those tones, those neutral peaches, peachy shades I can never get enough. So me and Charlotte Tilbury, we go together like tea and a biscuit. Okay, so usually whenever I see a colour story, I'm all over it. I love it because I feel like it's a brand that is just my cup of tea and I resonate really well with it, and their whole aesthetic and brand just suits me and what I like. But when I saw this colour story, I thought, oh, perhaps this is going to be the first eyeshadow palette from Charlotte Tilbury that I don't love, that is not really for me, it's not my cup of tea, it's not my colour story. And then I tried it and no, I was wrong. It's not going to be today. I'm so sorry about it. I really thought I was going to be saying to you today that the formulas and everything in here are great, but it's just not my colours, because having seen swatches and everything, I thought it's going to be too red, too deep, too rich for my personal preference and the way I do makeup. I like to keep things quite light. I'm more of a neutral leaning girl, not a huge pink eyeshadow girl, especially not when they're quite rich and red leaning. But then actually the reality, using this a little more light-handed in the way that I did today, I love this look. And these, I mean, all of the shimmers really, maybe not this one, but all of these three are my kind of colours. It was the mattes that were throwing me off, but even this rich red, which I forced myself to use, actually really works with all of the other shades in here, and I'm really pleasantly surprised. For that reason, this is not a sort of colour story that I have a lot of because it's just not something I'm drawn to, but I'm really happy with the look that I did today. It feels like me, but it is a little different to everything else that I own. It's not super neutral, it's not peachy, it's not sort of the more mauvey pinks that I get along better with typically. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really pleasantly surprised. I will actually use this a lot, which I didn't think I would. And I think also if you already own the original Beautyverse palette, I think these two will work together beautifully. You know, you could use the mattes out of one, the shimmers out of the other. I can really see me doing that because I think these mattes are just more neutral leaning and more my typical use, but then the shimmers in here are stunning. So I think if you have this one, you will also appreciate how well these will work together. And the packaging is of course to die for. This is an excellent gift, okay? If this is a bit too many pounds for you for an eyeshadow palette, especially if you have a lot of them, ask for it for Christmas. I'm convinced it will still be around at Christmas. This is a perfect Christmas gift. It's very beautiful and sparkly in Charlotte Tilbury. So if you are a big Charlotte Tilbury fan, as I am, then put it on your Christmas list and get it for free from Santa if you've been good. Only good girls can apply. That's why I had to buy mine myself. Now the Hypnotizing Pop shots, they're nothing new. They are restocked as opposed to being a brand new product, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love them. I don't think you'll be disappointed if there's a shade there that you are drawn to. They're beautiful. They do have some fallout. They are very sparkly shadows. So if fallout is a deal breaker for you, that's the only reason I think that you might not like these. They are very pigmented. You can apply these one swipe color, use a finger, and it's a one and done shadow. I use them a lot. They are in my top drawer. I spoke about these in my favorite all-time single shadows video. I'll link those videos of me using these down below so you can check them out in more detail if these are new to you. But don't loiter around willy-nilly about the place. I think the most popular shades, probably the green and the blue, will sell out the fastest, I think. I don't know how much stock she will have got. They are going away again soon, so don't dilly-dally is what I'm saying. So there you have it. Those are all of my thoughts, a demo, swatches, comparisons. What more could you want from me on this Thursday, autumn day? I'm sure there's something, there always is. There's always something that I didn't do that somebody wanted, so I can only apologize in advance for whatever that is. I think I did everything that I could think of. But please let me know if you are picking up this palette, if you already have it. Is it not for you? Are you more like me thinking this isn't going to work for you? Or were you all over it the moment you saw it? Please let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. But thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.